So speak life, when the sun won't shine and you don't know why. Look into the eyes of the broken hearted, watch them come alive as soon as you speak hope, you speak love, you speak life.
Hi, and welcome to Dealing with Life. I'm Tom Baker. I'm really glad you stopped by today. Today's Dealing with Life is brought to you by Malone Dentistry. This is a show we do every single week at this time. We talk with people who have been through the ringer. We've talked with people who have had struggles and found victory in the midst of them, as well as finding a deepened faith because of it. And we also talk with people who have been called to help those that they see struggling. In this Knoxville area, you as well as I know that there is a lot of people struggling with homelessness, and it's a difficult thing to try to figure out a way to help. But the person I have on the other microphone in this studio is Marti LaRue Baker, who found a really fun, interesting, and very helpful way to help. Hi, Marti. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Mr. Baker?
I'm just terrific. I'm so honored that you took time out of your crazy busy week to come sit with me for just a bit to explain what you do. You have an operation that has probably in your head at first you said, I don't know if this will help very much, but it does. It's called Car Cuts, and we're going to dive deeply into what Car Cuts does for the homeless in our area. But first, let's meet you. Tell us a little bit about Marti. You're born and raised here in this area, right?
Born and raised on Clinton Highway. I'm a Clinton Highway girl.
There you go. Perfect. So tell us a little bit about growing up and kind of getting us to where you started helping. You're in North Knoxville. So where'd you go to high school?
Well, I went to all of them.
Oh. All the above. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
I went to Central, I went to West, I went to Powell, I went to Clinton, and then I came back to Powell, and then I took my GED and started working.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. When, as I said, I went to every high school, obviously I was a problem child.
It wasn't always by choice.
I didn't want to go to school. My father was a gambler, and my mother worked at the factory.
Okay.
So they would take me to school and drop me off in the front, and I'd go out the back. Yeah. So I have been around and been around a lot of stuff, through my school years.
Yeah.
And seen a lot. And then with my daddy being a gambler, as I got out of high school, I took my GED and just started working,
Right.
He was a gambler. He got into the heavy gambling, and
this is not the Kenny Rogers type gambler. This is not.
No, sir.
Right.
He had a full casino on Clinton Highway. So I went to barber school.
Okay.
And so he said, you're going to have to do something. So he had a friend named Jack Rogers. And so I went to barber school over in Happy Holler.
Okay.
And so I'm getting almost through barber school and didn't want to go to school, And so I go into Jack's office one day. I had me a little meeting with the owner, and I said, listen here, Jack. I said, I'm ready to go. He said, you are? He said, where are you going? I said, well, couldn't you just sort of push my hours on through and I can just go and take the state board and get out of here?
I'm done. I'm ready.
Yeah, because you got to have 1,500 hours. You got to punch the clock, like everybody else does in school. And he said, oh, really? He said, well, let me make a phone call. So he made a phone call, and then next thing I knew, my daddy come in the back door. And he said, you take her, and she's suspended for a week. See, I was trying to buy my way in,
Sure.
So as I growed up, I realized that the world really didn't just revolve around me.
Right.
And so I learned a lot of lessons there in barber school. And in barber school back then, I went to school with a lot of veterans and, because they could go on the GI Bill and different things.
Yeah.
So I started, it was a different clientele that I was used to being around. And so I seen, what barbering did for them.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it really did. It
Just
gave them
a little dignity?
well, not everybody can go to college.
Yeah.
That part.
Okay.
I couldn't go to college, but barbering was just right up my alley. So went to barber school and got out of there, went to beauty school, got my instructor's license, and I've cut hair for 37 years.
My goodness.
So about 12 years ago, my cousin, Ginger Marshall, she came to get her hair cut, and she said, Martha Jane, that's my family name.
Okay.
She said, I need you to take up toboggans for the homeless. I said, oh, yeah, I'll be glad to. And she said, well, I said, how many do you need? 50? She said, I need 500.
Oh, my.
I said, 500? She said, oh, yeah. She said, Maxine Raines at Lost Sheep, that's where Ginger volunteered.
Mm-hmm.
She said, at Christmas time, she likes to give them something new instead of used, like they get every week.
Sure.
And so different people take up different things. Some people take up socks, gloves, and she thought since I was a hairdresser, toboggans would be great.
Sure, that's a nice fit.
So I started backing up. Oh, no, I cannot do 500. There's no way I could get 500 toboggans. Ginger, you know that I don't have $500 to go out and buy. And she said, honey, just put it on your mirror here at your work. Tell your church and tell your friends. So the toboggans started showing up.
Okay. That's kind of
And
God
then-
working in an interesting way.
Oh, yes. He started moving
Okay.
and showing me that he was in my life.
So she kind of fueled you to just try something a little different.
Yes.
Okay.
So then when Star Sales, that was when Star Sales was still in business.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my businessmen that I cut their hair, they'd say, here, take this $20. Go to Star Sales. Well, that would buy like dozens. And so I started taking them home to my husband. He started bagging them up and putting a number on how many was in the
counting them.
bag.
Yeah.
So that's what got him involved.
Okay.
So once it was all done, we had 836
So you
toboggans.
surpassed the 500 pretty rapidly and easily.
It was amazing.
Yeah, what an eye-opener.
So then she wanted the toboggans, and I was like, no way. I want to take them.
I'm going to put the work into it. I'm going to take them.
I want to see where they're going.
Yeah.
So I got to go to the Lost Sheep warehouse where they package it all for them for Christmas. And then I got to go under the bridge. Well, I was born and raised here. I didn't know we're under what bridge.
Sure.
Do you?
I do now, but probably.
Do you know which bridge?
Yeah.
Which bridge is
I
it?
can't think of the name of the road. I just know how to get there.
You think it's right there by Carm? Mm-hmm. It's not.
That's
I
not
did
it.
too.
See, that's where I
No.
thought it was.
Yeah. Everybody does. It's around Fifth Avenue, and you go on Blackstock, and then it's Maxine Raines has her own road that Victor Ashe, the city, dedicated that road to her. So
Okay.
it's under that part of the bridge.
See, that's an education for me right there.
I'd like for you to come sometime with
I will.
me.
Oh, yeah.
Every Wednesday, we go on Wednesday. She's fed for 26 years, never missed a Wednesday.
Wow. How
Cold,
about that?
heat.
Goodness. So you took the 830 some toboggans.
To her warehouse where they got all the other donations.
Okay.
And they put them in a garbage bag, man, woman. And then Christmas dinner she serves the Wednesday before Christmas. And then they all get a Christmas present from Maxine.
Wow. So that perked your interest.
Oh, it touched
into a
my
whole new
heart
world. Oh, yeah.
so much.
Wow.
So when they get fed, they also stand in line to get clothing on Wednesdays.
Okay.
And they only have an hour and a half, so it goes, really quick.
Okay. All right. So that got you involved with Lost Sheep.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're going to find out in just a minute how that went and turned itself into Car Cuts, which is what you're heavily involved with now, and even more than that. So what an amazing and inspiring start to this whole thing. Marti LaRue Baker is in studio with me today. This is Dealing with Life. I'm Tom Baker, and we just scratched the surface. We got a lot to uncover, to see. And what this does to me is this just inspires ways that we can help, that we're already prepared for, that we just don't put the two together. This is Dealing with Life. I'm Tom Baker. Today's program brought to you by Malone Dentistry. Now, what do you worry about when you think about going to the dentist? I think one that tops the list is knowing that what you have had done was done correctly the first time, and that you don't walk out feeling like you've been taken. Malone Dentistry, family and restorative dentistry, does that. They treat you like a member of their own family. They treat you like a person, and they feature honesty, experience, and personal care. Dr. Stephen Malone has way more training than is necessary for just a license. He is out simply to provide the best that dentistry has to offer. They're right off Kingston Pike on South Peters Road. You can go to KnoxvilleSmiles.com and check out some absolutely rave reviews. They have two new dentists there, Dr. Aaron Noble and Dr. Michael Costa Jr. Go see them. I have been going there for 20 years, and there's a reason, because I trust them. Malone Dentistry, KnoxvilleSmiles.com. This is Dealing with Life. I'm Tom Baker.
When I'm back on my feet again, I walk proud down the street again. Help you out.
Help me out.
Help me out.
Help me out.
You're listening to Dealing with Life. I'm Tom Baker, author of One Dog's Faith, a book about life, a book about trust and worry through the eyes of a dog, through the perspective of a dog who, if you watch for just half a second, dogs really don't worry about much. They're happy most of the time, and that intrigued me enough to figure out an alternative way to find peace, joy, and happiness, and that, of course, involves the strength of our Almighty. Jesus offers strength and peace to all, but we got to reach for it. In the studio today with me is Marti LaRue Baker, who has been involved with Lost Sheep ministry for a long time. And that wasn't enough. You helped out with Lost Sheep. You got involved with them. But then talk about, Marti, what happened from there?
Okay, so with the Lost Sheep Ministry, we had started doing breakfasts to make money, so I got involved with that. And then fundraisers.
Okay.
And then my cousin, Ginger Marshall, her husband got sick. So she was over all the drug rehab, that she would interview the people that Lost Sheep would help to get into drug rehab.
Yeah.
And so Maxine pulled me in.
Let's stop for a second and help people understand exactly who Lost Sheep helps.
Lost Sheep helps the homeless.
In our area, in Knoxville, right here in our backyard.
Yes, she is the queen of the homeless.
Gotcha.
They love her, they trust her because she's regular.
Gotcha.
You see, a lot of people just come down there and
come and go.
Yeah, they come and go.
Okay. All right. So I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I want to make sure listeners understand what this is.
Oh, yes. She's my mentor. I'm just a fruit of her tree.
Okay.
That's what I tell everybody.
And so we established a few minutes ago that you went to barber school and you've been working with hair for a long time.
37 years.
All right. So somehow these are going to connect.
Okay. So Maxine says, Marti, I would like for you to take over Ginger's place over the drug rehab. And I said, there's just no way. I'm not trained. I cannot do that. I have to work my full-time job.
Yeah.
And she said, we'll train you and we'll just set the appointments when you can meet with the people. And I said, no, I just can't. Well, folks, that's like telling God no.
Yeah, it's a hard thing, but our first inclination is to say, I'm already busy. And I can't do that. I'm not qualified. I mean, that's just the instant reaction we all give.
Yes. So the more I started, thinking about what I'd just done, and over the next couple of weeks, I was going back under the bridge, and I was telling my husband, I've just got to do more. Yeah. God wants me to do something, Archie, and I just don't know what it is. Wow. And so I was just down there on a Wednesday, and I was like, oh my gosh, we can cut their hair. And so from the day one, I've said, I'm not taking this away from anybody that's ever cut the homeless's hair, because people have cut their hair forever.
Yeah, you're not the first.
No, I'm not the first.
Yeah.
But I wanted to take it a little up.
Okay.
Okay? Give them a hand up, not a hand out,
sure.
is what I say.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to shampoo them. I wanted to get to know them and bring them into a salon atmosphere.
Oh, nice.
So I reached out to Jack Rogers, had passed away and left the school to his son, Larry Rogers.
Okay.
Called him, went to his salon, California Concept over on Dean Hill. Please do this with me. Please do this with me. And he was just like, let me think about it. I got a lot going on. And then one day I was at Pilot at Paper Mill, and I pulled in one way and he pulled in the other way. And he came over and he reached in his pocket and he gave me the key to his school.
Get out of here.
And he said, go for it. Do it. You can have my place once a month. I'll be there, but I can't commit because he has 4 sons and, a salon. I said, oh, hallelujah, praise the Lord.
That's a God meeting there, because right in the middle of where you wouldn't expect it,
Yes.
there he pulls up.
Yes.
My goodness.
So that's when it started. April 2016
Okay.
is when the first Car Cuts, and it was at the Knoxville Institute of Hair Design.
Okay.
We were there for 4 months. We never knew, so I started making flyers that I pass out on Wednesday. Nobody can solicit under the bridge, but we get to because we feel like we're part of
the group. Yeah, you're part of the family.
So she lets me come and we pass out their invitation to Car Cuts.
Okay.
So they started coming. Maxine comes every month. She's so proud that they get washed and cleaned. And yes, so we did it there for 4 months.
All right.
And that's another story.
Okay. All right. I'm game.
Okay, so I get an email from Larry Rogers. It's huge. And he was like, please don't be upset, but I've got to sell. Okay, everybody's, Happy Hollers coming alive.
Yeah.
And the school had competition now, the Veda School, the Paul Mitchell. And this school was built in the 1960s, folks. So he either had to tear it down and start over. Okay. And I said...
Well, that's the first... So the first thought in your mind was, this is stopping.
And that's what's strange, because I said, Lord Jesus, please find us a new home.
Yeah.
And I told Larry, I said, go for it, get your inheritance and run. I did. It was just like I had peace. So that was in July. Okay. April, May, June, July. It was our 4th month that we did hair. Okay. So then I told my husband, I said, Archie, if we don't get another place, then we're at least going to go back and grill the hamburgers. We grill them cheeseburgers on the grill.
Oh, nice.
That's something they don't get. They get hamburgers. They get hot dogs and barbecue because that's bulk food.
Yeah.
So the week before Car Cuts on Saturday, I got a Facebook message and said, I would like to do Car Cuts. And I said, I'm sorry, we're homeless, trying to help the homeless. And Jeremy One said, obviously you don't understand. I want you at my salon. And I was like,
where was this? Where is her salon?
Jeremy One, it's a gentleman. He has Geo Hair Lab.
Okay.
2 blocks from Carm, 300 West Fifth
right.
Avenue.
Ground zero.
So that was, if that wasn't a sign from God, I'm
upgrading you. I'm not taking this away. I'm upgrading.
He did. It's a state of the art. The salon is beautiful. I don't know if they would have came as they do now if we hadn't started in their roots, because a lot of the homeless got their haircut at the barber school because you could get one for a couple of dollars.
Sure.
When you had it. But yes. So we are there. We are in the backyard of the homeless population.
But you said something a minute ago that is so key to a lot of people getting news of something stopping. You didn't panic. You had peace.
I couldn't believe it.
And
that's the Holy Spirit.
It is, because it's so tempting to panic and say, "Oh, okay, God's shutting the door. Oh no, what not?" But you saw opportunity just around the corner, and that's very key.
And the hairdressers were behind me. They said, because I had to let everybody know, they were like, "Well, we'll just cut hair in the parking lot," and I was like, "No. God don't want us to do that." I just knew that for sure.
Sure. Well, you couldn't do shampoos, and you couldn't do the full treatment that way.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. That's so inspiring to hear that as long as you open your heart, as long as you say, God, use what I got, use what you helped me get in the first place, and use it to help people,
our God-given talents.
Yeah, yeah. And we all have them.
Yes.
We all have talents. They're
So-
not all the same either.
So then I had people that were like, well, I cut hair, but I'm not licensed. So I called the state board, Nashville, Tennessee. They were like, no, you don't have to be licensed to cut hair for the homeless on Sunday. So now,
Wow.
yes,
How about that?
we have men that come from different churches, Cokesbury for one, Faith Promise, First Baptist Church downtown Knoxville, and they come and cut hair.
Wow.
They bring their clippers.
How about
They
that?
do buzzes, you know.
So for the person, for the people listening, haircut, that seems like, okay, that's a nice thing. But tell me in your perspective, what does that do for somebody who's on the streets?
Gives their dignity back, first thing.
Yeah. And kind of how? You see it all the time. How does that, what does that do?
How do you feel when you get your hair cut?
Better.
Like a new person.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a new me.
How does your wife feel when she comes in? Did you know we do, they get to choose from 2 services. They can get a haircut, a shave, or a beard trim. And the ladies can get a haircut, and they can get a manicure, or they can get base hair color.
Yeah.
Base hair color. Cover their roots so they could possibly get a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you going to?
Because that opens up so many doors.
It does.
And more than anything, it's confidence.
Confidence
That's
and
so
dignity.
special. Yeah.
I mean,
how
they
special.
just, I invite you to come because that is the true thing is come and watch these people. They get there at 7 a.m. We don't cut hair till 1 o'clock, but they come
My.
and they stand. It's starting to be like ram. I mean, they look so forward to it and they stand out there in the line just, sometimes they're hot and cold, you know, in the weather, but they're just down, all shriveled down. And boy, when they come out that door.
Look at me.
Yes, we had to change. We do registration at 9:30. That's where they get their name tag.
Okay.
We find out if they're a veteran.
Okay.
That was very dear to my heart. My husband's a Marine. And so we wanted to go that route. And we have identified them. We have the Veterans Association. We need resources in our parking lot, folks.
Okay.
Yes, we do, to help
Okay.
these people. So at 9:30, once they get checked in, they go straight to the clothing. We have clothing now.
What?
Well, we saw the need.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they come under the bridge and they just open their trunk and they just lay it out on tables and they fight over it. I mean, it's a pull and tug.
Yeah.
Not here. We call them by their name and their number.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's organized.
Number 2,
It's-
number
yeah.
3, come
Yeah.
on up. And they get to shop with our volunteers.
Oh, how about that?
Yes.
How special.
So between that, they get honey buns and coffee and hot chocolate and Gatorade. That's all we give out, and milk.
Okay.
We don't do any Cokes and stuff.
Sure.
I just trying to, that Gatorade gives their electrolytes back.
Yeah, it's helpful.
And then lunch starts at about 11:30,
Okay.
and that's where my husband comes in. He grills 500 hamburgers on the grill. And then we have a food line.
Yeah.
It's usually a
So
church.
you're doing all kinds of stuff.
It's unreal.
Cutting hair is just scratching the surface.
I went to cut hair, and God has used me to where I very seldom am inside cutting hair.
Wow.
I'm out in the parking lot.
You're face to face, and you're talking
They
and
need
making
us.
people feel special.
They need us. They need us. They need just a. We find out that some people hadn't even been touched. A lady, she'll say, "Oh, nobody's even touched me in over 2 years." Or
Wow. Goodness. Marti LaRue Baker, you are head person in charge, captain of the ship of Car Cuts, and it's so special to hear what you guys do and have the heart to help the homeless in our area. Goodness, that's just wonderful. This is Dealing with Life. I'm Tom Baker. Today's show brought to you by Malone Dentistry. I think it's important to deal with people you trust. I think it's important that you deal with people that you feel comfortable with. And there's always that little feeling inside that tells you that you're comfortable or you're not comfortable with somebody. Spirit talking, I do believe. Malone Dentistry is one of those people that I feel comfortable with. I trust them. I know that they're speaking the truth to me when they're telling me something. It's not just to make money. That doesn't even enter the equation with Dr. Malone. He treats you like a member of his family. He wants you to have a smile that lasts a lifetime. a healthy, vibrant smile. He has the training well beyond what is required for just licensing. They've been there for 20 years, and I've been a patient of Dr. Stephen Malone for 20 years. Family and restorative dentistry. Their staff of 15 will make you feel comfortable, even if you're nervous. Malone Dentistry, right off Kingston Pike on South Peters Road. Go to KnoxvilleSmiles.com. This is Dealing with Life. I'm Tom Baker. We'll deal with more in just a moment.
Do you believe that you can walk on water? Do you believe that you can win this fight tonight? Oh, to everyone who's hit their limit, it's not over yet, it's not over yet. And even when you think you're finished, it's not over yet, it's not over yet. Keep on fighting, out in the dark, into the light. It's not over, hope is rising. Never give in, never give up, it's not over.
You're listening to Dealing with Life. I'm Tom Baker, author of One Dog's Faith. Today's show brought to you by Malone Dentistry. We have had Marti LaRue Baker in the studio with us, and she brought a friend. Marti LaRue Baker is the person who operates Car Cuts. Haircuts for the homeless, but the services, as we learned a little while ago, expanded way, way more than that. She brought with her Connie Killingsworth. Hi, Connie. How are you?
I'm fine.
You go by Granny.
Yes.
And I think that's just so special.
I earned that nickname when I was homeless
Okay.
from the other homeless, and Granny loves you unconditionally, and that's what Car Cuts does. And so I'm everybody's Granny.
Wow. So now, to complete the story for listeners, you were on the streets and you had open heart surgery.
Yes, and I could no longer work since I was in heart failure. I became homeless,
Yeah.
and I wound up on the streets.
Goodness.
Place I never imagined being.
No, nobody imagines being there. I know.
And I was literally called an animal and treated like one.
Good grief.
And so when I met Miss Baker and she started treating me with respect again, like I was accustomed to,
Yeah.
it was shocking.
You almost didn't know what to do, I'm sure.
I spent a lot of time, my mouth just hanging open,
Wow.
in shock. But with her Car Cuts by my side, I've managed to jump through hoops.
Yeah.
I've got housing, and I just signed my lease to start my second year in my apartment.
Oh, my goodness.
So I've been homeless a year, and I've got my glasses so I can see you through Car Cuts, my dentures through Car Cuts,
They've helped you through all this.
all of this, every step of the way.
She found you in a tent and had you come in, and you were just one in the line of Car Cuts.
Yes, I was standing in, I started out on the other side of the table getting the help.
Right. And what did that mean to you? What did that mean to you to be able to get a shampoo and to get your hair fixed and to feel special? What did that...
Oh, it felt like Christmas when I was a child.
Oh, my.
Because, like I said, I was called an animal and mistreated, and people acted like, ooh, don't get close to her. But this group, it was hugs and smiles and kisses and here, put this apple in your backpack to eat later, and then getting your hair done. It just, even today, I still see it. People walk in, they're looking at the ground, their shoulders are slumped. When they leave, that head chins up, them shoulders are back, and I mean, they're
proud.
just, they've got their humanity and their hope back.
Golly.
And those are the two things you don't have when you're homeless.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. And so now you're not in the line. You're one of the volunteers.
Oh, yes. I consider that an honor and a privilege that the homeless and less fortunate know that Granny didn't leave them. She got housing, but she's on the other side of the table helping her.
Yeah, you're not
with
just
this
sitting there
group.
pointing and going, I'm not you anymore.
No.
Yeah.
And when one of them comes up and tells me I'm signing my lease next week, I get as excited as I did the day I signed mine.
Oh, goodness.
And there's a lot of people not comfortable working one-on-one with the homeless.
Yeah.
But they help Car Cuts in other ways with donations and stuff.
Okay.
And
Which you got to have to run
yes,
this.
we can't do it without them.
Yeah.
And so it takes a lot of different groups to each do different parts. But every single person says we're Jesus' hands and feet. And what I really love, and it fascinates me, is, you have Baptist, Methodist, Lutheran, all these different labels.
Yeah.
On a Car Cut Sunday, you'll see somebody there from every label.
It's just Jesus.
It's just Jesus. We have a party with Jesus.
The denominations are gone.
They don't exist.
Yeah.
And everybody works together. And it actually turns out the volunteers have as much fun as the guests.
Oh, I'm sure. It's got to be so special to see that transformation right in front of your eyes.
Like a woman said yesterday, no matter how tired you get, you'll see that look on someone's face and those shoulders up back and head up, and you've touched their life. You've made a difference.
Wow.
And it seems like something simple, but it's psychological, physical. I mean, it just helps to know that somebody cares.
So Marti LaRue Baker is here. In fact, you brought Granny.
Yes.
With you for today, and we're going to have a whole show talking with Granny about her life and the transformation and the difficulties and all that. But you, Marti, if you haven't been listening, Marti is founder of Car Cuts, and this is part of Granny's transformation. Is you saw her homeless and desperate, and you helped transform her, and she's one of your volunteers.
Yes, I looked in her eyes and I knew it could just be me.
Yeah, and it can.
Yes.
It is. God is walking alongside of you, and I see it so well. Talk about this. We're right in the middle of Fight Hunger Week.
Yes, sir. We're so honored that Car Cuts is one of 10 501c3s that was chosen through the Scarecrow Foundation. Jimmy Buckner came and sat and talked with me and wanted to know if we'd be interested.
What an honor.
It's an honor.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're up there with CARM, VMC,
Yeah.
Mobile Meals.
But what you're doing for people, it's not just cutting hair. I mean, hearing Granny's story, my goodness, you've helped her get housing. You've helped her with food. I mean, you've helped her with so many things, and the pride that she has in her eyes. Unbelievable. I just love it. So talk real quickly about, one, the operation of Car Cuts. It's once a month, right?
Once a month, every Sunday, the first Sunday of every month, unless
Okay.
it's a holiday.
Okay.
And the only ones that affect us is July the 4th and Labor Day.
Okay.
We're always the first Sunday of the month. But you can tune in on Facebook, Car Cuts of Knoxville. That's where you get all the updates.
Okay.
And the website is carcutsknoxville@gmail.com.
Okay. Now, how can somebody help you?
We need financial help, of course. We actually grill 500 ham. It's $1,000 bill every month.
Every month.
Yes, between the food line and the burgers, it's $1,000. That don't include the hair color and all that. It's just feeding. If we just had churches, people, businesses just step up to feed every month,
Okay.
that would be huge.
That would be
Yes.
huge. Wow.
It sure would.
So what makes you the most proud?
Is to see the success and the glory and their dignity come back. And Granny goes to church with me every Sunday. She's loves Asbury United Methodist Church, which is the one church that got us started. They believed in us and prayed for us.
Okay. Man. So, and you have somebody living with you right now.
I do.
I mean, your heart is so wide open. And that's what Jesus says. Bring them into your home.
It's
Bring people that you know need help into your home.
Yeah, and people say, don't do that, Marty. Well, look, if you're going to be a disciple and you do what Jesus calls you to do, then you need to mentor these people.
Yeah.
We need to train people. I've learned a lot. And you don't bring somebody who's on heroin into your home. You don't bring somebody who is an opiate right now, into your home. You don't. Granny wasn't. Everybody thinks, and Geraldine, she's a paranoid schizophrenic. She's on her medicine now.
and
normal.
and
She's getting back
operates
to
life.
Granny says she's getting back to Earth. You know, she was on Mars when she was out there.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. I'm learning so much. And God just calls me to do it. Now, not everybody can do this.
Well, but the magic thing is you just said yes.
Just say yes, folks. And it's so, whether it's just to pick them up and take them, get their birth certificate, take them to a doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
They're in a dark black hole.
Yeah.
They can't help themselves. They don't even they don't have ID. They don't have a bus pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a hand
you're just
up.
stuck.
It's not a handout.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hand up.
Man.
And you stay involved with them. You pick them up, take them to church.
Wow.
Then next thing you know, you got a whole car full. It's a blessing.
Marti LaRue Baker, it is so fascinating to hear what you do. You're the founder of Car Cuts. Today's installment of Dealing with Life is brought to you by Malone Dentistry. I'm Tom Baker. We'll deal with more in just a minute.
I got a new lease on life. They say you only live once, but I live twice. I got a new lease on life. I got a new lease on life. One foot in front of the other. One foot in front of the other.
You're listening to Dealing with Life. I'm Tom Baker, author of One Dog's Faith, and today's show brought to you by Malone Dentistry. In the studio with me is Marti LaRue Baker, who has been helping homeless folks in our area for a good while. She is the founder of Car Cuts, which initially was cutting hair and helping, but my goodness, it's grown exponentially, and the help you're doing to folks here is immeasurable. But you started this just by a credit card.
Yes, sir.
You just pulled out a credit card and said, I'm going to do this.
And the chairs and tables, just from my garage.
Yeah.
Just started grabbing stuff out of the yard. Come on, we'll need this, we'll need that. Tablecloth.
Yeah. And then somebody came up to you and said, you need to be a 501c3.
Yes.
And you said,
Marty Altschiller, I have to give him credit for that. He's been behind my passion from the beginning, and he said, to get any amounts of money donated to you, you're going to have a 501c3.
Right.
And I said, what is that, a tattoo?
Marty's a good man. I've known him forever. He's such a good man.
He is a good man. He helps a lot of people, and he is a client and a friend.
Okay.
And so he said, you need to get an attorney.
All right.
So when my attorney come to get his hair, Ray Pinkstaff, I have to give him a shout out.
Yep.
He said, you absolutely do. You sure do.
Okay.
And then so he reached out and did that for us. I'm proud to say we got a 501c3 in 4 months.
Good grief.
You don't do that.
No, you don't do that.
And
That's not easy.
He pushed and he did it, and he just went wide open for us.
God strikes again.
And then I had to have a board, and I was like, a board? What's a board?
Made what kind of wood?
Yeah. And then an agenda, and I was like, what's that?
Oh my goodness. So they did all that for you.
God has sent me angels
Yeah. That's amazing.
all around me.
So not only do you cut hair, you help all kinds of people with all kinds of things. How many people do you think you have helped with housing?
As of right now, we do know of 32 people that are in housing.
With your help.
With our help, our encouragement.
And also connecting them with the right people.
Yes, mentoring.
Yeah.
Phone calls,
God, that's just so special.
We had a wedding. 2 of our volunteers wanted to get
What?
married at Car Cuts parking lot.
What?
We did a wedding. It was on a July hot summer. No, it was on Mother's Day.
Okay.
Yes, it was on Mother's Day because we are the closest things to their mother.
Oh my.
It was a beautiful wedding. Beautiful wedding.
Now, somebody whispered baptisms. How many baptisms have you had?
Yes, we did baptism just one time.
Okay.
And we look forward to doing that again this summer. There were 14 baptisms.
At one.
One Car Cuts.
God.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Paul Mingy, he is he goes under the bridge with me, and he knows them all. They know him. It wasn't just like, hey, come jump in the
Sure,
trough.
sure.
He ministers to them.
Wow.
And they left there with a baptism slip from Car Cuts.
There you go.
It was awesome.
And just a whole new shine to them.
And they come back. They're still there with us.
Wow.
But one of the couples that got married, they got housing. And what they're doing now is they let a couple live with them to save their money to get housing where they're at in an apartment complex.
To build.
So
to
we're
build off of.
mentoring them and they're mentoring.
Yeah,
it's,
and it's
it's
spreading.
contagious.
It is. It's spreading. Oh, that's so special. God bless you and the heart that you have and the openness and the willingness to just step out of the comfort zone into helping the people who are temporarily lost, and you help them find the path.
Yes, sir.
Good grief. Marti LaRue Baker, and it's called Car Cuts. Once again, how can people help you?
Car Cuts of Knoxville Ministry. Our email address is carcutsknoxville@gmail.com.
Okay.
And my cell phone is 865-599-3866. Feel free to text.
You are not afraid.
Not at
look
all.
At you. That's so cool.
And Facebook. That's
Okay.
where we do all the updates. If you're interested in when and where and what, we take donations the day before, which will be February the 3rd. We're looking for, I'll put on Facebook what we're looking for. Usually, and of course, clothing. Okay. We need men's shoes. We need underwear.
Wow.
They need clothing. Not dress clothing, appropriate clothing. Panties, bras, a pair of underwear, especially you men. You've got a whole drawer full. Yeah. Don't even go out and buy it. Just throw it in a bag and go get you some new.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good grief. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. I really appreciate it.
God bless you guys and your ministry. That's wonderful. This is Dealing with Life. Today's show brought to you by Malone Dentistry. I'm Tom Baker, and we'll deal with more next week.
You speak loud.